My CEO told me I had no value when he fired me. Even my colleagues laughed at me, but they had no idea that I possessed the company's real secrets, legal documents, and the authority that could change everything. The day my CEO stood me up in the conference room and said, "You don't matter here anymore. Anyone can replace you," I didn't see surprise on his face. I only saw the arrogance that often appears in the eyes of people who believe power will always remain in their hands. A few of my colleagues were sitting in the room, the same people I had worked with for years, and when my boss threw my file onto the table and said the company needed new blood, some of them didn't even try to hide their quiet laughter. I stayed silent because I had so much to say at that moment, but I knew every truth has its right time to be spoken. Some things create nothing but noise when said too soon, but some realities grow quietly, and when they finally come to light, they need no explanation. I had worked for that company for nearly 15 years. When I first joined, I had nothing more than a small desk, an old laptop, and the belief that hard work would eventually take me somewhere. I stayed up countless nights preparing reports, helped make decisions that executives proudly talk about today, and worked behind several major projects whose success never carried my name. My life was never limited to the office. I was the same woman who smiled during Thanksgiving dinners, sitting with my family while everyone took pictures and talked about how beautiful our lives were, even though I was fighting silent battles inside. I attended PTA meetings, tried to be the perfect mom for my children, and continued our Sunday Costco trips that had become a small family tradition. We used to talk about retirement plans, check our 401k numbers, and believe our future was something we could control. But life often teaches lessons that no financial planner can ever include in a chart. My CEO believed the company ran only because of his decisions, but he forgot one important thing. I wasn't just an employee. I was part of the system I had helped build and strengthen through years of dedication. I had contributed to major contracts, reviewed important legal documents, and kept detailed records of decisions that could put the company's biggest deals at risk if handled incorrectly. But I never treated that information as power. I treated it as responsibility. The day I was fired, I packed my belongings into a small box, looked at my colleagues, and simply said, "Thank you." No one understood that my words carried no anger. They only carried the feeling of a chapter coming to an end. When I got home, I didn't create a scene. I didn't call people to complain. I looked at myself in the mirror and asked one simple question: what happens next? I spent many nights quietly reviewing everything. I went through every document, studied every decision, and slowly created a plan. My goal was never to destroy anyone. Time had taught me that revenge often traps people in the same darkness they are trying to escape. My goal was only to bring the truth into the light. A few weeks later, the company found itself facing a serious legal issue. Questions started rising about a major contract. Certain decisions needed explanations, and suddenly the same people who once considered me unnecessary were looking toward the files and records I had carefully maintained for years. I had the legal documents that showed how decisions were made, who approved them, and what information had been overlooked. I also had authority that remained connected to certain company agreements even after my position had ended. I didn't threaten anyone. I didn't announce anything publicly. I simply did what was right. I presented the evidence to the proper people, calmly and in complete order, without emotional speeches or dramatic accusations. Within days, the same people who once laughed at my presence were now praising my professionalism and integrity. My former CEO reached out to me. His voice no longer carried the confidence and superiority it once had. He apologized, but I knew some apologies arrived too late, and some words can never undo the damage that has already been done. I forgave him, but I didn't go back. Today I look at my life differently. I no longer have that title, that office, or the same people surrounding me. But I have peace, confidence in my decisions, and the understanding that my worth cannot be reduced by one person's opinion or silence. I learned that sometimes the most powerful response is not raising your voice. Sometimes, it is standing so firmly that time itself becomes your witness. And when I look back now, I don't feel happy that those people lost. I feel at peace because I found myself again. Thank you for staying with this story until the very end. If this journey inspired you, reminded you of the power of patience, or taught you something valuable, please support us by liking the video and subscribing to our channel. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more powerful stories like this to you.